We did a radio tour. We got off the plane and there were some fans standing waiting for us. And I was the first to kind of walk up to them and they just walked past me. I went to the other girls. Like, it was so weird. It was never like someone racially abusing me.
Because we have 3 mega fans.
It's just like little things that happen regularly.
So, right, first, which member of Little Mix are you most like?
I'm more like Perry.
Jade.
I'd say Jessie, because she's got a really cool, like, an edgy style.
It's fine.
Cool. Okay.
All of these little feelings, if you can imagine, they just built up. And it was something that I could never fully explain. And you can't pretend like it's not happening. Feeling invisible, feeling like people will just look past me. And becoming a pop star was everything I ever wanted. But before we'd even signed the record deal, things started to happen that now feel a bit off. On the X Factor, when they dyed my hair red and shaved it, made me look like the Rihanna. Like, I was 20 at the time, and I guess a bit naive. Looking back, it's clear my colour was being used to define my image within the group. Those things, when I think back to it, and I'm just like, wow. Then there was other stuff, and all that matters is that feeling, and that feeling that just doesn't go away. Like, it keeps hurting and hurting. And wondering, is it my colour? Like, all these questions. And from that moment, it was, Leigh Anne. The crowd going mad for me, and I was like, what? Like, I've never seen or heard anything like it. There was so many black people in our audience, and I have never felt that love. I have never felt so accepted. After that,
Pinnock.
This is the first time in my life that the whole world is speaking about racism. We need to talk about it, and there needs to be a change, because we can't go on like this anymore.
Treat this as a conversation.
Cannot say that now. What makes a black person? Like, how do you act black?
my mum is half Bayesian and my dad's half Jamaican. Both their dads arrived here in the 60s, and as a family, we're really proud of our Caribbean heritage.
Come on, Granddad. Bless him.
They would have got stick, both of our dads, for being with white women.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't have gone down well at all.
So you're both mixed race. Yeah. I mean, did you say you identify as black?
I'm black as far as I'm concerned. Okay. We grew up in a black culture, so therefore we listen to black music, we cook West Indian food. That was a culture at home. It was a West Indian house.
This is my thing. So, like, when people say things like, oh, but you're mixed race, when it's like, but I've always said that I do identify as black. Like, I don't really bother saying mixed race.
Because even if you're mixed race, you're not white, you will suffer from racism. So,
I mean, you do identify as black?
You don't like to be identified.
I like to identify myself as John Pinnock. That's who I
do now. Well, I can't hide the fact that I'm black, like, and my situation is minuscule compared to what is actually going on in this world, like, to black people.
But you can use your voice and your experiences to help other people and to let other people know that, you know, things are going to change.
Yeah. Growing up as well, like, you haven't let your colour define you.
Yes.
You never let us think that anything was going to hold us back.
No.
Yes, we knew there was racism. We knew that we were living amongst racist people. But it was almost as if there's nothing we can do about that.
Between police and protesters in Minneapolis following the death of George Floyd, a black man who was filmed lying in the street, struggling to breathe, with a police officer's knee on his neck.
Oh, Jesus.
Cell phone video of the arrest shows him handcuffed and pleading for air.
Being a black person and watching that, and knowing, like, that could be my son, my daughter, it's like a rage inside. Firstly, I just want to send my condolences to George Floyd's family and all the other families that have lost someone due to police brutality and racism. There comes a point in every black human's life, no matter how much money you have or what you have achieved, you realise racism does not exclude you. You learn to understand you can't be seen to be too loud or too opinionated, otherwise you're deemed a diva or aggressive. Our reality is no matter how far you think you have come, racism exists. It exists in sports, in the creative industries, in politics and policies, in the streets and in the hearts of racist individuals. We are no longer in a position where we need to be quiet on this matter. Thank you.
So you guys know that I'm in Little Mix. How do you think I need to use my platform?
You have to come and support. You need to be on the streets. You need to be doing everything that you can. This isn't just about you.
Education is key. You need to find that information. Don't wait for it to come to you. You use the tools you have, the people around you, to read what you need to read, to watch what you need to watch, listen out what you need to listen to.
Yeah, address colorism. There's racism, but colorism is a big thing as well.
But you can't share anything that you don't understand. So it's really important that you self-educate. There are areas in England that don't have this many black people. And I'm sure there's a mixed race girl in that town who's looking at you thinking, you know what, I want to know my history. I want to know what she's doing. Do you know what I mean? So just keep doing what you're doing because it means the most.
Speak up properly about it and not really hold back. But if you read enough comments, you see people say that you should just shut up about it, you know what I mean? And be happy with how far you've come. Like, your country or the world can't be racist because where you are now. So she knows that she is going to get backlash off this and whatever, because that's just...
Why you felt like you had to say I would have to work harder because I'm the black girl? What was you kind of thinking at the time? Like, why did you think it was so important to tell me like that?
I just saw myself. I saw the little brown girl sitting over there, you know, really nervous. Like, it's a white world, you know, and I got to make her know the secret. We got to be the best. We got to walk right. We got to sing right. We got to work right. We got to, you know, the choreography better. We got to do everything to be the best that we can be. Because for so many years, people always look at us as less. And so, therefore, here comes your big brother, your daddy, your uncle, whatever you want to call me. Let me go over here and hold her hand through this. And let me give her my speech that I gave Ashley Everett, you know, the speech that I gave in Vogue. You know, you understand? We have to be the best that we can be. You know, because we're representing our race. But Leigh Anne, you know, I'm just curious. When I said what I said to you, what did you think at that moment, really?
If I'm completely honest,
Please?
I thought it was a little bit rude because I didn't understand it, and I think I nervously laughed, like, huh? It's just crazy how it was so alien. Because I've never, ever been told that. Like, my parents never, ever said to me, you're going to need to work harder. Like, they never, ever brought my race into it. I found out for myself because I wasn't prepared for what was going to happen after you said that. Against people with darker skin, especially within the same ethnic group, is called colorism. We've been going out for a couple of months when some offensive tweets he'd written years before we met were picked up by the press. He wrote them 8 years ago, and I know now that those tweets were a blatant example of colorism. I will never know what it feels like to be a dark-skinned woman, but seeing those tweets really made me feel a bit sick. And I was really upset because I was just like, who is this person? Like, this is horrible. Because that wasn't the person that I knew.
Because if you see an independent, strong black woman, all of a sudden you are an aggressive woman, you're overconfident, and nobody wants to talk to you. And I know so many women within this industry who are writers, producers, go through the same thing.
If they were looking for a minority, they were looking for a minority to be in it to sell records. Because you know what, let's be honest with you, it makes it a little bit more cooler. Do you know what I mean? So I think if you had like a couple of white managers like in a room and they wanted to throw someone of color in, of course, being mixed race, the more you look like a white person is more acceptable, palatable. I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but you were chosen for your blackness.
I'm still kind of like struggling to talk about it in general.
Okay.
So the fact that it comes down to the token black girl, like you do see it in other girl bands, like it's kind of like a sort of, not a trend, but it's happened so often. More into the fact that there are so few dark-skinned females right now in the music industry. What is it about dark-skinned women that they don't deem it to be marketable? It really does make me think, like, if I was some shades darker, would I be sat here right now? Like, I don't know.
Exit the group Sugar Babes. I don't know if many people know, but I didn't actually leave. I was replaced while still being like in the band.
Didn't know that.
And I remember being sat down and I was basically told, you know, this person feels bullied, that one there feels bullied, this one. And I was like, I was giving that one a foot massage legit like the day before. You know, if I had an opinion, you know, it was very much like, okay, you're being a bully. And that was the word. That whole situation changed the course of my life. Wow. It affected me emotionally, mentally, financially. I have like confidence issues and just feeling like the whole time, like I couldn't have an opinion in the workplace. And it's taken me years to recover and I'm still in the process with therapy and things like that.
Like if I was dark-skinned, I'd be in Little Mix.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're right in the middle of pop music. You are in a as white as it gets environment. Because I visually don't look black, I can hide it. And I've been hiding it. Subconsciously, when people know me now and look up my songs now, I make dance music. But when I signed my record deal, I was an R&B artist. I used to make beats. I used to sing 4-part harmonies. I grew up in church. I was so connected to my black culture and my heritage. And I was so excited to put music out and I was told, no, this isn't gonna work. It's not, there's no place for it. It won't work. You can't do that. You have to embrace the white in you, suppress the black in you. That's how I felt. It's
being racist, and I think that like people don't realise that they have like racist thoughts or ideas, but like they've been conditioned to be like, well, black isn't beautiful, or that person's not really like given much to this scenario, so I'm just going to ignore them. Do you know what I mean? Like it's unconscious.
There's not all bad in people. I really believe that everyone's got good in them. Like I remember when my mum used to take me to certain management companies, I won't name them now because they're still friends and that's all good and it's all love. But when I was 15, they told me and said, we've got one black person, we can't have another. And I got that a couple of times. And one thing that's like actually comes to my head right now is being told to bleach my skin. Being told that I'm too dark to be in the industry. I'm going cold talking about it because I really actually don't like talking about it.
Racism is such a horrible word. Nobody wants to think they're racist. And it does take like, you know, people to kind of like look into themselves and just be like, actually, I have thought that, you know.
In my group for like 9 years, and for so long, I thought, people would say to me, it's in your head. And I started to think, okay, maybe it is. So maybe I'll do whatever I can to improve my vocals. I'll make sure I speak more in interviews. Do whatever I have to do to better myself because whatever's going on now, it's not good enough. Right. So I need to be better. And then it still wasn't enough. Why do I feel like invisible? Why do I feel like the least favoured, the least desired? Like, I just want to know, like, is that racist or, like, is it in my head?
Oh, it's obviously not.
A week when I went in for work, 2 days in a row, I was doing shoots and I walked in and there wasn't one person of colour working on the team. And I'm just like, I would never have noticed that before, but it baffled me.
Because it's not right. It shouldn't be predominantly white when the music industry is fueled by hip-hop and R&B.
Like, well done for actually speaking out and deciding that you're not going to keep quiet.
You know, you've used your platform and your privilege to do that. Yeah. Some people take their privilege and run away with it and never look back.
Cuss really hard. And then some days you think, right, okay, I'm going to educate you in terms of what you're doing.
people are just blatant racists. If they had something to offer, they wouldn't want to try and take you down.
Yeah.
Or try and criticise you.
I just feel like I've kind of, like my heart is on the line now and there's no going back, and it's like, I'm almost scared.
Don't get me wrong, it is scary, but you just got to remember all the lives that you're changing. You've got to remember all the young women that are looking up to you thinking, oh my God, she's spoken out. So everyone needs to sort of ask themselves, when the history book's written, what's going to be said beside your name?
The topic as well is like colorism. Black women, dark-skinned women, if I'm being brutally honest, are not seen as physically attractive.
You're pretty for a black girl.
Yeah.
Like, or you're not as loud. Supposed to mean?
There's so much pressure, and I feel it as a lighter-skinned woman, so I can't even imagine how it feels for you girls. Like,
all I've really seen realistically is a lot of conversations.
Yeah, like lots of brands, it's like they'll start reposting the black squares. They were saying Black Lives Matter.
That was the easy way
But
out.
the real question is, how much does it matter? How many black people do you have in senior positions within your organisation, you know?
It really is the guys at the top that I'm onto. It's never the people who, like yourself, you do have a platform, of course, but you are also controlled to an extent on what you can do. So do you feel, sorry to put you on the spot, you know, do you feel now you might have the confidence to have a conversation with those who are part of your record label? What's management really doing to emphasise that Black Lives Matter and we've got these issues?
yeah. So our label kind of helped us post Black Lives Matter charities and like ways that people can get involved. But I mean, that was when the movement was a bit
current.
more, yeah.
Got you.
So I feel like people could definitely do more.
Do you see much job roles for people that look like yourself?
No.
Superior.
At least you're straight up and honest about it. 'Cause
I walk into work and there's no black people. And that has been that way for my whole career. Like, I just haven't noticed it. Because it's my normal.
Yeah.
Get 3 people from my label to speak to me on the phone. But do we have that figure, like, for the whole of Sony? You were saying, oh, like, it is diverse, but it's nowhere near what it should be. At all, anywhere where it should be. They've told me about the work they've done to increase black representation at the company, like paid internships and donating $100 million globally to tackle discrimination and equal rights. What I really want to ask them about is our team at the label that Little Mix work with. Like, even like coming into like meetings or like doing shoots and things like that, it is always predominantly white. Always. Without a question. For the last 10 years, I do feel like I was so conditioned to it for so many years, but the past couple of months, I'm like, this is not right. And it clicks so much more now and makes me feel uncomfortable because I just don't understand why that's the way it is. It shouldn't be like that. So, however we agree to work together moving forward, I know that I have the backing of the band. Yeah. Well, I just know for a fact that they are 100% behind me. Like, our music is inspired by black culture. So, like, why wouldn't we? Like, I don't want the next girl in pop to come up and ever feel like how I felt. And I start putting forward more black creators for us to work with. Black creative companies, black photographers, black videographers. A lot of the time, like, when you have these conversations, like, sometimes things don't always get followed through. But one thing I do know is that I'm going to keep pushing. Like, it's not a question anymore. Like, it has to happen. And when I set my mind to something, so much.
And I'm always here.
And it's so important. So important. You gotta take action. I wanted people to see people making change. From now, like, I want them to be able to walk into work, regardless of what I'm doing, and see people of colour. I don't want it to just be a black square. I don't want it to just be, oh yeah, we'll think about it and we'll try. You can't just keep ignoring this flipping issue. This is just the beginning. I'm a fighter.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do.